Woot woot. Got stuff to do. Melt these up while we wait for people. Burn off the ends of everything. Let's see. Oh, I forgot my scissors in the other room. I better go get those. Man, my voice sounds deep this morning. Ow. That was hot. Touched it too soon. I flew too close to the sun and burned my finger. I'm gonna get my scissors. Oh, that's not gonna feel good. That's gonna blister. That's gonna leave a mark. Gotta be more careful. I may not have much of a group this morning, it feels like. Morning, everybody. Welcome to my Sunday finishing work live. It's non-stop excitement up in here as I melt off the ends of this paracord for these projects we got to finish this morning. I got some yawara and some Tenarashi and vampire steaks and fight sticks and so much stuff to wrap up this morning. We're gonna get it done though, right? We're gonna do it together. You guys are gonna help me get through this. Man, I don't know what the deal is, but I cannot wake up this morning. Trying to wake up. I even made real coffee this morning, not decaf. So that's how serious this got. I went back to the caffeine. Needed it. Trying to wake up. All right. Now we got some Ipe, ironwood, yawara. I'm gonna cord up real quick. Go. Knot that up. I need to buff these when I'm done. The tongue oil's not quite completely cured on these, so, but it was enough. I wanted to go ahead and get them cord wrapped this morning. Let's see, there we go. Here we go. And then the person, when they get it, they can adjust it to their hands and cut off the extra cord. And then they'll be good to go. They'll have a nice, comfortable, long reach yawara made out of some strong ass wood. There we go. These are all good. Get a cloth to buff those real quick. Alright, stick these off to the side here. Now that these are done, we buff these off and put them off to the side. Morning, everybody. Welcome to Sunday Finishing Work. If you got any questions, drop them in the chat. Just buffing these off, and then we'll move on to the next one. These are some Ipe yawara I just finished, the long reach yawara. So, here we go. Those are done. Hang on. Get them in here. There we go. Stay put. There you go. All right. Put stuff over here. And I was melting off the cords for some stuff this morning and burned the living crap out of my finger. All right. So I got these. These are a newer version of the poplar stakes I had. They're probably the only ones I'm going to make, though. These, I work in home renovations now, and I was at a job site, and they had this 1-inch thick piece of poplar. It was a little narrower, so I made some new poplar stakes. They're slightly different from other poplar stakes. They're thicker, slightly narrower, and instead of a pyramidal tip, I gave them a rounded tip. So, but I figured might as well cord wrap these up. So I've got this natural jute. I'm going to cord wrap these. I'm going to use some white cotton. I have a pair of these smaller, narrower stakes I'm going to sell while the shop. And then got some Ninja Hambo I've got to cord wrap. Then I'm going to clean my hands off, and we're going to cord up some Tenarashi Tessin at the end here. But if you got any questions about what I'm doing or what I do here at the shop or anything really, feel free to drop those in the chat and I will gladly answer them as I'm doing this. But I had made 9 of the basic poplar stakes that look kind of similar to this. I made 9 of those things thinking that would be plenty of inventory to get me through the first month of spooky season. I was wrong. I completely sold out of them before the end of the 3rd week of September. So definitely, I made 6 of them this weekend. I'll probably make another 6 of them next weekend. But I figure having another inexpensive poplar stake option might help me keep them in stock. So I made like 11, 5 of these and 6 of the other ones. So hopefully I can keep these bad boys in stock, because they're because it's poplar, which is fairly easy to work with. It doesn't take me a really long time to make these, so I'm able to sell them for a lot less. And they look cool, and they're less than 20 bucks. Shipping is free, so people tend to get these because They're definitely a cost-effective vampire hunter costume option. All my poplar steaks are less than 20 bucks. I think they're like $16 to $18 most of the time. Man, I use this finger usually to hold the string, and I burned myself right in the spot. You see the blister there? I burned myself right there this morning. What I was thinking. That does not feel good having this jute cord just rub across the spot where I burned myself this morning. I don't know. I'm not sure if I want to cord wrap all of these or not. What do you guys think? Does it look cool with the cord wrap, or am I wasting my time? Should I just leave them bare like that? And drop them on the floor. That's always a good thing to do. Luckily, it didn't fall tip first. I've had that happen before where I'm working on a steak, accidentally drop it, it hits the hard floor, tip first. Oh, it's always the worst, man, because you gotta, once you've dented in the tip of a vampire steak, there's no quick fix for that. You just gotta go back, sand the tip back out, re-sand everything, re-stain everything. It is a pain in the ass. I don't mind doing it the first time, but having to do it twice, no thank you. No thank you, sir. Welcome to Sunday Finishing Work, everybody. If you got any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. If you like what you see, like and subscribe. All that good stuff that I'm always terrible about reminding people about. But help me be a little less bored this morning and drop a question in the chat for me, huh? Because it's really quiet in here and my ADHD doesn't like it. Oh my gosh, wake up, Nathan. Wake up. There we go. Oh, if I can. All right, hang on. Wake up. This goes through here. There we go. The rabbit goes around the tree and through the hole. All right. I don't know how I feel about it, guys. What do you guys think? What do you think? Handle wrap or no handle wrap? What do you guys think? I mean, it looks okay. I don't know that it looks tons better. I don't know. Screw it. We're going with it. You guys had a chance to object. You missed your opportunity. You had a chance. You could have saved it, but you didn't. I need coffee. Hang on. Oh, man, I need coffee. It's too early. Sometimes I can't believe that there was a time in my life when I could sleep until like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I can't do that anymore. I try. I would love, like if I could stay up until like 3 o'clock in the morning, I go to sleep and my body will wake me up at no later than 7:30 a.m. My body will be like, okay, time to get up. And I'm like, I would like to continue sleeping. But my brain's like, nope, get up. We got shit to do. So I have to, that's why people always wonder why as people get older, they go to bed earlier. It's because your body, after a while, your body stops letting you sleep in. And no matter how late you stay up, you're going to end up waking up at the same freaking time. As a result, when you get old, you're like, screw it. I'm not going to stay up late anymore because the later I stay up, the less sleep I get. Oh, man. But I heard I've had several orders this year from people doing Buffy the Vampire Slayer cosplay, and thought that was interesting because I hadn't heard that in a while or seen it in a while. And come to find out, they're rebooting Buffy, I guess somehow. I'm not sure if it's like a prequel thing or if they're actually like bringing like a series back or if it's going to be a movie. I don't know. But also, when it comes to Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I always have to ask people, like, which one is it? Because there's like 3 different Buffys that you could do. There's the book Buffy. There's the Christy Swanson movie Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And then you got Sarah Michelle Gellar's Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The Joss Whedon series. I get that they're all kind of the same, but they're slightly different in how they're portrayed. I personally, I love Sarah Michelle Gellar as Buffy, but my favorite Buffy will always be Christy Swanson. She was awesome in that movie. Plus, had Paul Rubens play a vampire. Come on, and Rutger Hauer. I mean, come on, you gotta love that. You get to see Pee Wee Herman be a evil vampire. That's amazing. And he has like the best death scene, I think, of almost any vampire movie ever. It's hilarious. He gets staked. Paul Rubens' character gets staked, and it takes him like a full minute to die, and he just keeps like, ah. And then like at the end of the movie, at the end of the credits, they come back and he does another one, which I love. And then he finally dies at the end of the credits. She stabbed him with a ruler too, which is the other thing I think is hilarious. About that final scene in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie, if you ever go back and watch it, she shows up with a duffel bag full of wooden stakes. And as she's fighting these vampires, the stakes go from being like stuff that's been obviously like purposefully made to be stakes. Then she's doing like furniture, pieces of furniture, like chair legs and stuff. And then by the time she gets to Rutger Hauer, the final boss, and Paul Rubens, she's got a freaking 12-inch ruler that's been sharpened into a stake, and that's what she stakes Paul Rubens with. I actually make a replica. I make several different replicas of that stake in my shop for Buffy. What's weird though is most Buffy cosplayers don't buy the ruler stake. Sometimes they do, but most of the time they buy these kinds, or they'll buy. I do make a chair leg stake that's also a Buffy replica, and a lot of times they buy those. Those are more expensive though, but surprised though how many Buffy customers I've had this year. And usually my spooky season stuff doesn't really even kick off until like the last couple weeks of September, but this year it started immediately. Like the first week of September. People are ready for Halloween this year. I think it's been a kind of a shitty summer for everybody. I think everybody's looking forward to Halloween, so we can pretend the world is not burning down around our ears. How can we sleep when our beds are burning? No, I know it. How do we sleep while the world keeps turning? How do we sleep while our beds are burning? Right? Technically, that song's not really relevant to the situation, but kind of seemed like it. What's everybody doing up so early this morning? What are you guys up to? Are you guys up early or are you up late? I always feel like it's one of those two. People who come to my Sunday finishing work either got up early for some reason on a Sunday or they've been up all night. Especially my West Coast people, because I think on the West Coast it's only like, it's like 4:45 in the morning, I think, over there. Now that song stuck in my head. Oh, why did I sing that song? That's going to be stuck in my head all day. An earwig. Earworm, I mean. Earwig, earworm, whatever. It's too early for words. It's probably why you guys aren't commenting or asking me any questions. It's too early for words, right, people? Way too early for words. Oh, I'll take your glasses. Got a couple more of these, and then I gotta buff down the stuff that I put second coats of tung oil on this morning. And I got a couple more steaks to cord wrap, and then I'm gonna clean my hands. And we'll do these tactical ninja fight sticks, I think. We'll see. The stuff that I tung oiled might be cured enough at this point. We'll see. If it's still tacky, I'll wait on it. But we'll see. Not sure what I did. I think I left my alcohol wipes in the other room. It's definitely gotta wipe down my hands. Anytime you handle stuff that's got stain on it, it's always a good idea to wipe your hands down or wash them before you handle anything else, just to be safe. Most of the time it doesn't rub off, but you never know. Sometimes you'll have a spot of stain or something on your hands and you don't realize it. Next thing you know, you've ruined something else because you transferred stain over to it. So it's a good idea to clean your hands when you've handled something that's painted or stained before you handle something that's not painted or stained. Yeah, you guys may notice I tend to do the same cord wrap every time. I do. That's not a big secret. I'm not super creative with my cord wraps. I just feel like I want to do something that's simple and functional and easy in case something were ever to happen. If it were to come off or something, that it's not hard for the user to figure out how to replace it. It's pretty simple. You just run an anchor line down the side, you wrap around the anchor line as you go down, then you cut it and you tie the anchor line to the other end, and you're done, son. One more time around. Woot. There we go. Another steak in the books. 3 down, 2 to go. Thanks for the likes, everybody. Appreciate that. What you guys up to? Anything fun this morning? Anything more fun than watching a middle-aged, chubby middle-aged guy cord wrap vampire hunter steaks? I know, it's non-stop excitement up in this bitch. No, you got nothing better to do? What's up, Tony? Good to see you, man. Tony, you don't have more important things to do? I feel like you're like the man about town, right? You got a full schedule, I bet. Oh, good gracious. my gosh, I just realized my niece is working on a story, a fiction story, and I keep meaning, she sent it to me, I keep meaning to read it because it's about vampires, and I oddly enough, I have a master's degree in world mythology and English with a focus in world mythology. Worst financial decision I ever made. However, I do have a brain that is full of mythology and lore information as a result. So anytime someone I know needs information on like supernatural creatures or stories or myths or fairy tales, they always come to me. So she wanted me to read over her stuff and let her know if she got the vampire lore correct. Which is hard to say because like it really depends. Vampire lore has changed over time, you know. So it really depends. Like a lot of the old lore, nobody really pays attention to anymore. Which I find sad because a lot of the old vampire lore is really fun. Like these days, everybody says, you know, the same thing, you know, wooden stake to the heart. Garlic crosses maybe, depending on the universe. But the thing about stakes, though, that bothers me, and I say this, I think probably every live I do, is that they just, the only thing they kept with the lore when it comes to stakes is that you stake them in the heart to kill the vampire. And the old lore, that wasn't really the case. There were rules when it came to staking vampires back in the original lore. And it sometimes disappoints me that in pop culture, no one bothers to look at the old lore. Because, like, in the old lore, staking a vampire may or may not have actually been the thing that kills the vampire. Some of the old lore says that when you stake a vampire, what it really does is it freezes them somehow. Kind of puts them in like a coma, like a state of suspended animation. So you should never pull the stake out, because once the stake is in, that's what holds the vampire in place. Then, once you've done that, you have to cut the vampire's head off. And then, for good measure, you're supposed to burn the remains. That's what you're supposed to do. And when it comes to the stake, once you stake, you're not supposed to pull it out. But the reason you're supposed to do the beheading and the burning is because if, by some weird twist of fate, the vampire's body, while staked, even while beheaded, if it were to fall under the light of the next full moon, the vampire would regenerate, the stake would be pushed out, and apparently they can even like pick up their own head and reattach it to their body. So definitely want to make sure you don't leave room for that. And I know what you're thinking, like has anyone tested this? Probably not. Because that's the thing, I feel like it, you know, stuff like whether or not you should leave the stake in the chest of a vampire is not really something you want to be testing when you're dealing with an actual vampire. Oh, I made those ends way too long. Oh yeah, and the other rule that also gets ignored, which I would love to see used because I think it would make a cool little twist, since it is part of vampire lore, is that you should never, ever, ever stake a vampire with an evergreen wood, with a stake made out of an evergreen wood. And the reason behind that is that evergreen woods were considered a symbol of immortality. And so the idea was that if you're trying to stake a vampire, which is an undead immortal being, with a immortal wood, it won't kill it. And some of the lore, not all of it, but some of the lore even says if you stake a vampire with an evergreen wood, there's a chance that not only will you not kill it, you will even make it stronger. And so I don't feel like that's the kind of thing you want to be testing in the real world. So if you're going to stake an actual vampire, make sure your stake is not made out of an evergreen wood. But I think it would be cool if they made like a vampire movie where, you know, they like the protagonists realize that they're fighting vampires, so they go grabbing a bunch of like wood from around the area and sharpen it into stakes, and they go to stake the vampire, and he's like, "Oh, that's pine." like, yeah, no, pine doesn't work. Did no one tell you? It can't be an evergreen wood, but thanks for that. That tickles. You know, I think that'd be funny if you had a vampire get staked and be like, "Oh yeah, did no one tell you? It has to be a non-evergreen wood." Werewolf lore is kind of similar to that. You've got old school werewolf lore is crazy. Some of the stuff, like back in the day, you could kill, or not kill a werewolf, but you could stop a werewolf by taking an iron bar and throwing it over the werewolf's head. You have to clear the top of the werewolf's head, and if you do that, the werewolf will return to its human form, according to some of the old school lore. Because I think it's funny, everyone knows the silver bullet part of werewolves, right? The silver bullets will kill a werewolf. But you got to think, werewolves have been around since before firearms. People, what were they doing before firearms? And the truth is, silver and iron and salt were kind of go-tos when it came to just about anything. Werewolves, fairies, evil spirits, like those three items seem to be pretty universal. Iron, silver, and salt. Most supernatural beings, especially the European ones, seem to have aversions to those three items. And if I wanted to wax philosophical about it, I think, like from a mythology point of view, the werewolf kind of represents the savagery of humanity. Yeah, silver bullets do seem like a sound currency. We should definitely get rid of that money and go back to the silver bullet standard. Definitely more stable than the gold standard. But yeah, the like I said, the wolf kind of represents the savagery of humanity, but things that represent like civilized human civilization, civilized human society, would at that time would have been salt, silver, and iron. Silver was a currency. Iron was what everyone was making their weapons and tools out of. And salt was also a currency. And a very, very integral part of everyone's lives, because you could preserve food with it and survive winters by preserving your food with salt. So it makes sense in a way, symbolically, that those three things pop up so often when it comes to dealing with evil spirits and old school creatures, supernatural creatures and stuff like that, because those symbolically in mythology, those creatures tend to represent like savagery and an older way of living and an older world. And so the weapons against that would be the things that represent the newer, at that time, more advanced world, which was for the most part run by things like silver, iron, and salt. Which I think is cool as hell. Like there were a lot of very prosperous villages that lived along coastlines, because pretty much all they would do is collect seawater in large metal barrels and put that over fire and evaporate it until they had the salt. They would just keep filling the barrels up until they had boiled off all the water, and then you had a nice bucket full of salt at the end. And then they turn around and sell the salt. That's like, if you ever hear the saying, the person's worth their salt, that's goes back to the old thing where people were paid in salt. All right. But these are done. These will go up on the shop later today as another one of my basic poplar steaks. We'll put these over here. All right, give me 1 sec. I gotta buff some things out here. Buff the wood. Oh yeah, I gotta clean my hands. Hang on one second. Buff, buff, buff. Buff the wood. Well, if you're just showing up to this live, I apologize that the first thing you heard was me screaming "Buff the wood," or singing "Buff the wood." But that's what you're in for. We're buffing. We're buffing wood this morning. Ooh, I have stain on my hand right there. That's not good. And we're cording stuff up. All right, hands are clean. Let me buff out these things. Thingamadoodles. Whatchamacallit. With my nice high dollar buffing sock and old t-shirt. There you guys. This is a Purple Heart Tenarashi Tessin. Actually, that one came out pretty good. Feels like it's pretty close to cured, so we'll go ahead and do the wrist loop for that bad boy. Get another one, Carl. All right, another Purple Heart. And I got another gray elm one over here. And the reason you buff it really is just mostly to keep a smooth surface. You don't have to do that. It's mostly just to get any bubbles in the tung oil out before it completely cures, so that it's nice and smooth. What the fuck is that? This is it's a Tenarashi Tessin. The Tessin, also known as a gata. So back in the day, samurais, lords, or daimyo would carry folding fans. They were very expensive, and they would sometimes use them as disciplinary tools for their retainers and subordinates, and they'd smack them with them. They also sometimes use it as like a tertiary weapon to hang on to that they could use. Problem is, actual folding fans are expensive, and hitting people they're not really made to be used as weapons, so they would tend to break. So this is the Tenarashi. It has the same shape as their war fans, their actual Tessin, and but it's just called a Tenarashi. Tenarashi can be made from just about anything: wood, iron. Technically, a Tessin is itself made from iron. But a Tenarashi is just a kind of a practice version of a Tessin. Right, these two are Purple Heart, and this one is Gray Elm. I sand these bad boys up to 1,000 grit, so they have a damn near perfect finish. And you give them a little wrist loop. But they're used, it actually is a martial art for this called Tessin Jutsu. It's also used in Aikido. It's used in several different martial arts practices. Aikido, traditional Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. Mostly Japanese martial arts, obviously, because it's a Japanese weapon, but and been trying to, I've got a bit of a dilemma with one of these. It's got a very superficial crack in it. It doesn't look like it would affect the usability of it, but aesthetically it doesn't look great. I think I may take this one off of my inventory and auction it since it doesn't look perfect. I don't like to sell things at full price if they're not perfect quality, so that sucks. I'll have to make another set next weekend, but that's okay. I can still sell that. So I'll sell that at a huge discount. But this one will go into the inventory. This one will get auctioned off. I'll put that on the shop later today. Let me put these bad boys up. All right. 2, 3. And I got a couple of gray elm. I call these pocket yawara. They're 6 inches. They are the kind of thing you can carry in a purse or a pocket. Give you a nice little palm stick when you need it. Nice little self-defense weapon. I have these in all different kinds of wood on the shop. I've got them in, I think, purple heart, padauk, black walnut. I don't make black walnut ones anymore, but I have them, the ones I've made in the past are on the shop. I think I've got these in zebra wood. I've got them in all kinds of stuff. They're one of my big selling items for some reason, especially around Christmas time. I find it interesting how often it seems like people are giving these as gifts. But hey, I'm not complaining. You know, they make good gifts. They make good little like stocking stuffers. Especially if you're a martial arts family, you know. There you go. And now it's tethered to your hand. Why would anyone stream this? I don't know, man. I'm mentally unstable. What's your excuse? Perfect gift for Mother's Day. Exactly, Tony. Why would anyone stream this? I mean, you showed up for it, my bro. I'm sorry I didn't meet your standards there, Mr. 40, Mr. whatever that is, Fotke, Mr. Fotke. But the good news is, my guy, you don't have to stay and watch it. So congratulations. I'm sorry that I ruined your day. That's all me. That's all on me. All right. Gray elm yawara are done. Now I've got vampire steaks, a couple more vampire steaks, and a pair of these ninja combo. And then I think that's it for today. Holy cow. This is going by way faster than I thought it was going to. I think I must be getting faster at this stuff. Ugh. All right. I feel like I'm forgetting something and I can't figure out what I'm forgetting. Oh well, must not be important, right? Or it is important and it'll come back and bite me in the ass later. Either one. All right, let's see here. So these came from another cutoff that I got at a job site. I just hate to see wood go to waste. It was gonna get thrown in a wood chipper. So I decided we're gonna make a pair of Vampire Hunter steaks. I made the tips, I tapered the tips a little more extremely than I normally do because they're thin, so I thought it would look cooler. And I'll sell these as a pair. I'll probably put them up for auction. I think that'll be good. I try to do at least 1 or 2 auctions a week on my shop. Because since eBay is now my main platform for selling, some people, they only want to look at auctions, so having a few auctions makes it easier for people to find me. John Wick pencils, yes. Yes, that would be funny. That actually be a hilarious prop to make. Oh crap, I forgot. Hang on, guys. I gotta make sure pro tip, I gotta make sure there's at least 6 inches of stabbing tip, because that is the distance from the front of your sternum to the heart. So you always got to make sure you have at least 6 inches of stabbing tip. It's very important. Preferably more than that. All right, that's gonna have 8 inches of stabbing tip. But yeah, 6 inches is always gonna be your minimum for the stabbing tip of a steak. Because, like I said, from the distance from the sternum, the front of the chest, to the heart inside is about 6 inches. However, you got to remember that's a minimum, not a maximum. So if you're fighting a vampire that's got big chest muscles or is overweight, you probably want to go with something longer than 6 inches. Like 8 to 10 probably would be preferable. Yeah, that's what I should do. I should buy a bunch of number 2 pencils and just like mark them up, make them look used, and then sell them as John Wick pencil props. That would be funny. What I should actually look into doing is try to find a way to make like a safe version, like a foam pencil version. That might do. I don't know. But it would be funny to have a pencil as a prop for John Wick. I think people would get the joke, but I don't think anybody would buy them. They'd just be like, "Oh, that's a great idea," and go buy their own pencils. It's a pretty easy prop to come by. But I think that would be funny. I might actually do that, to be honest with you. Go buy like a 100 pack of pencils, sharpen a bunch of them up, like chew on them a little bit, distress them up, and sell them for like $1 a piece as John Wick pencils. The thing is, the shipping would cost more than the pencils. Okay, come on. Almost there. 1 and 2. Yeah, see, that's good. What's up, everybody? If you got any questions, feel free to drop those in the chat. Even if it's something like, why in the hell am I watching this? Or why the fuck would someone stream this? I'm totally happy with those questions. Always good to know I'm ruining somebody's morning. There we go. Like, they're narrow, but I think they look good. All right, we got one more, and these will sell as a set. I'm just gonna sell them as a pair. Come here, you. Yeah, it's good. What's everybody up to this morning? What's got all you people up at this ungodly hour on a Sunday? We should all be sleeping in. But I can't. I got too much work to do. Oh. Tell you what I've been reading. I've been reading John Dies at the End. It's an interesting book. I haven't seen the movie yet, and I always like to read the book before I see a movie, because sometimes if I see the movie first and I like the movie, then I read the book. If the book is better, then it ruins the movie for me. But if I do it the other way around, where I read the book first and the book is good, then I'm just disappointed in the movie instead of like feeling like I liked the movie and then it was ruined because the book was better. You know, so yeah, but there's some cool stuff in there that they use as weapons that I've thought about. I'm not sure there's a lot of John Dies at the End cosplayers out there though. So I'm not sure what the market is for cosplay props from John Dies at the End, but I don't know. When I read books, I always think, like, I read the Mistborn trilogy earlier this year, and they have these in the Mistborn trilogy, people can manipulate metal, and so most weapons for a lot of people, especially the nobility, they don't carry metal weapons because they can be turned against them by Mistborn, who are these people who are able to control metal. So most nobility carry what they call dueling canes, which are swords kind of made from wood. But they're not like practice swords. They've got stabbing tips and bladed edges and all that stuff. So they carry those, and so I got kind of inspired by that because, you know, hey, a wooden sword meant for actual killing, that sounds awesome. So I made one for a couple of the characters in the book. Those are still up on the shop. They haven't sold yet. Sometimes I don't make stuff because I'm planning to sell it. Even though I put it up for sale, I mostly made those because I wanted to see if I could. And I could, and they were cool. I made one for Ellen Venture, who was one of the main characters. He tended to wear white, and his significant other tended to wear black, and so I made it out of zebra wood, which is white and black, which is light and dark, I should say. And so it shows the contrast between them. And I made one for this other guy, Spook Lesteborn. He's also one of the kind of Mistborn people. He was like a spy and would pretend to be a beggar, so I made his look more like, I don't know, simple and low cost, because it would not make sense for him to carry an expensive dueling cane if he's supposed to be a blind beggar. But there we go. So these are done. Now, last thing to do. Oh, I hate doing these. But it doesn't matter if I like it or not. It's got to be done. Oh, that's the wrong glue, Nathan. There we go. That's the adhesive we need. All right, let's see here. Where's the... Oh, there it is. Trying to find the end of the 550 cord here. Or paracord, as people seem to call it now. In the Marine Corps, we called this 550 cord, and we used it for everything in the infantry. 550 cord and duct tape, man. You always had a bundle of both somewhere. You always had a roll of duct tape and a bundle of paracord 550 cord in your butt pack at all times, because you never knew when you were gonna need it. And it was always better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Well, I thought I had enough room to not knot this up, but I was wrong. There we go. I thought I was gonna be slick, but I was not slick. If you got any questions while I'm unkinking this paracord, feel free to drop those in the chat, and I'll answer them as soon as I'm done. There we go. All right. Whew. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right. That should be enough paracord, at least for the first one. Oh. So the thing with paracord is what it really is like a nylon sleeve with high tensile like polyester strings running inside of it. And so if you don't cut and melt off the edge, the strings inside can kind of shift around inside that sleeve. So you always want to kind of melt it off before you work with it. These are Ninja Humbo. Oh yeah, I gotta do my adhesive. Got it. All right, there we go. I started making these a few years ago. The original design, I had the string going all the way up to the end, but I got some feedback from some of my Kali Eskrima guys, and they said that it would work better if it was further from the tip, so I've moved the tip slightly. Oddly enough, even though I call these Ninja Hambo, they tend to sell better with guys that do Kali Eskrima for some reason. Every now and then I'll get a ninjutsu practitioner or karate guy that actually buys them. And they're supposed to be tactical. They're all black. I use a matte gel stain on the wood instead of paint so that it doesn't have quite the shine on it. Oh, I forgot to glue that on, didn't I? Yes, I did. Shit. Nathan, wake up, please. Good God. There we go. Okay, that's good enough. Now, there we go. I feel like this is one of those mornings, maybe I shouldn't have come into the shop. All right. But the friction for this should hold it in place, but because these wraps double as both a grip and a striking surface, they tend to get a lot of pressure on them. So I don't want to come on, get on there. I don't want them to shift, so the adhesive just kind of helps make sure everything stays in place. And I think I just got adhesive in a place I didn't need to, but that's all right. I think it'll dry clear, hopefully. But yeah, the adhesive is just to make sure everything kind of stays tight as possible, so that it doesn't slip off. Nothing worse than having your handle wrap come loose while you're working on stuff, especially when you're doing stick drills. You don't want your stick flying out of your hand. Almost there. It'll be 1 down, 3 to go. Wait, whoops, I went too far again. Last one around. There we go. I just gotta clip these off. There we go, 1 and down. Let's see if I got enough 550 cord to do this second end. I think I do. Let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, I do. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right. We are good. We have the length. Oh, sorry for my little waddle. I keep forgetting to get an actual chair, so all I've got is this weird little stool. And for some reason, I cannot figure out how to sit down on like a normal human being. I look like an alien trying to imitate how a human sits down. I'm not an alien, though. I promise. I'm not. I am a human, just like you guys. Definitely not an alien. There we go. I'll line that up to the other side. Around. There we go. If you're wondering what I'm using as an adhesive, it's just gelled cyanoacrylate, which is just a fancy way of saying super glue, but it's gelled super glue, so it's thicker and a little bit stronger, and it tends to dry clearer. The liquid kind has a tendency to dry very quickly, and it dries white and can really look bad, especially on fabrics and wood. So I try to stick with the gel kind. Almost got, after this, I just got one more stick to cord wrap, and then, you know what, folks? I think we're going to be done for this weekend, which is awesome. I really thought this was going to be a much longer Sunday finishing work. I think we're just over an hour in. That's not bad. Probably take me about another 15 minutes to do this last stick, and we will be done, son. But if you got any questions before I finish up for the day, definitely stick those in the chat. I will answer them before I get out of here. One more, there we go, okay. All two of you that are still in here. Yeah, that's funny. It's all good though. I don't really want or need a huge crowd in here. I kind of want the people that are interested in this kind of stuff. Definitely, I definitely do not have mass appeal at all. It is definitely a very niche channel. It's not, I am in no way looking to be a YouTuber. I have enough jobs already, and adding social media to it does not sound like fun to me in any way, shape, or form. I don't want to be an Instagrammer or a YouTuber. I just put my stuff on there to kind of show what I'm doing and advertise my shop. I am not planning or going to be making a living off of YouTube anytime soon, probably ever, and not at all on my list of things I'm interested in doing. But it's a fun way to share what I'm working on and reach people who are interested in the weird shit that I make. Hoot hoot! One down, ladies and gentlemen, one to go. Then I get to go home and I get to be lazy. Well, kinda. I gotta do some laundry. And I'm gonna watch a bad movie and put this stuff up on the shop. But I guess, okay, so I guess I'm not really going to be lazy. I mean, I'm kind of being lazy, but I'm definitely going to be laying down while I do a lot of this, so. All right, so there we go. That's one hanbo down. Let's see. I don't think I have enough 550 cord left to do the second one, so I have to open up a new one. I think. Let's see how much I've got left. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No. I'll have to save this for yawara. I think I've got another black one in here somewhere. There we go. I do! All right. There we go. Oh, give me a break. I'm trying to get this unkinked, but it's a slow process doing it this way. That's why once I'm done with this set, I bought a humongous spool of black paracord, so I don't have to keep dealing with these smaller ones where I'm constantly having to untangle everything because they don't ship it quite correctly. They really should have this stuff tied up instead of just loose in the bag, but not a huge fan of it, of how they're doing it. There we go. Wrong way. Oh my good gracious. Oh, great googity moogity. Why is it so knotted up? All right, I think I'm almost there, folks. Stay with me. Stay with me, Jimbo. All right, let's see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Damn it. I need 20 arm lengths to get this done. Or at least to make sure I have enough. All right, I think that's it. Let's see. There we go. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Damn you. To hell. There we go. That should be 20. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yay, we did it. We did it, everybody. Congratulations. Oh. Here we go. All right, peeps. This is our last thing of the day. So if you got questions or you want to berate me for having the audacity to stream something so mundane, be my guest. Have at it. Tear me to pieces. I deserve it. There we go. Wait, what's that? Which ones? Oh, how did I get two? Not sure how I got two glue bottles over here, but I did. Tony, you still out there? If so, I just wanted to say thank you for coming back to my lives. so many times. I appreciate you. I know this is not exactly the most riveting thing to watch on YouTube, but I appreciate people sticking around for it. Watching me fumble my way through all of my projects. There we go. And I also want to thank everybody else who's here, not just Tony, for coming and hanging out with me this Sunday. I think there's probably, what, 2 of you in here? Oh, no, it's 13. Well, look at that. Lucky number. We're just finishing up this last set of Hombo fight sticks. And then I'm done. I'm done, son. But if you got any questions about supernatural creatures or martial arts or mythology or heroes or props or practice weapons, I got a lot of information in my brain. So I have ADHD, so I have a lot of information. Some of it useful, some of it not so useful. I need to figure out what bad movie I'm gonna watch today. I haven't figured that out yet. I don't do that much on YouTube, but on my Instagram, every Sunday, for the most part, I tend to screen a bad movie. I tried, there's a movie with Miles O'Keefe called Phantom Raiders that I tried to do a couple months ago, but this group called the Lasso Group did a copyright strike on it, which is ridiculous. It's fair use, but I thought about maybe not a second try, because I actually was able to challenge Lasso Group because they did it again a couple weeks later, and I was able to challenge them, and I won my appeal. So I think I might be able to do Phantom Raiders, and just plan to do a rebuttal if they put in a DMCA, but I don't know. I don't really feel like dealing with that today. What do you guys think? Anybody got any bad movie recommendations? Preferably something horror genre. So September and October, I try to focus on I have such a long watch list of bad movies, and you'd be surprised how many of those are horror themed. So I try to reserve September and October for watching the spooky stuff. Helps keep me in the mood for making Halloween items. Here we go. One more side. And then we are done. Done, son. All right. Oh, don't you kink up on me now. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Ooh, last one of the day. Yay. We did it, everybody, as a team. Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of a team. Everything is awesome. All right. Well, for those of you who have stuck around through this, thank you. And for those of you that left likes or subscribes while you were here, also thank you very much. I highly appreciate it. I know this is a little different for YouTube. I'm not exactly... I only started doing these lives at the beginning of summer, I think, and I'm still kind of new to all this. I know I sound like an old person. I don't know how social media works, but I'm not quite that bad, maybe. But I've mostly used Instagram and kind of Facebook. I hate Facebook, but I feel like Facebook is just where everybody's older relatives show their ass. That's basically what Facebook is for. You know, for finding out which of your relatives and people you went to high school with grew up to be racists. You know, that seems to be what Facebook is for. Instagram, I don't dislike so much. I really enjoyed my Instagram. YouTube, I hadn't really been doing much until probably in the spring. I started doing stuff on YouTube. I am on TikTok. I wasn't on TikTok until like a couple weeks ago because I worked for a cybersecurity company. And the cybersecurity company didn't allow us to have TikTok. But then they laid me off, so it doesn't fucking matter anymore. That's right. No one's pushing you to watch, Pokey. That's right. I don't get it. Thank you, Jacome. Yeah, I don't really understand how... I guess I ruined Pokey's Sunday. But I've got TikTok now, so I am on TikTok. If I've only done like 2 videos on TikTok, so I just got there. But I do have a TikTok page now, and I am also on Clapper, which I guess no one really cares that I'm on Clapper. I don't think Clapper cares that I'm on Clapper. I don't think anyone on Clapper really cares about anything. Clapper is the most ghetto social media site. It's just kind of the reason I stayed on it. Like, I originally got on there when everyone was jumping over there when they thought TikTok was going to shut down. Because I could have Clapper, but I couldn't have TikTok because of my job. But now I've got TikTok, so I don't know if I'm even really going to keep Clapper or not. I don't know. Still all up in the air about whether or not TikTok's going away at any point. Seems like it's not going to. I think they finally came to an agreement to sell the American side of things. Which I think is just ridiculous. I mean, I think it's funny that our government is all about banning TikTok because they're worried they're stealing Americans' data, which is like, yeah, what do you think everybody else is doing? What do you think Instagram and Facebook and every other social media and website on the planet is doing? They're all stealing our data. What you're really pissed about isn't that this is a Chinese website stealing America's data. What you're pissed about is you all aren't getting any of it. You all aren't getting access to the data or the money or the revenue from that data. So TikTok's got a nice algorithm and you all want that. And that's really what this comes down to. It's money and stuff you don't have. And we all know rich white American men can't stand it when there's something they can't have. Heaven forbid. I am pretty hardcore. I am. As you can tell by my shirt. Yep. Only a super hardcore individual would wear this shirt. I'm super hardcore. I'm hardcore. I'm metal. So metal. So metal, I say, as I take my back pain medication. So metal. Woot woot. Last one, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, I'm pretty crazy. Like, I'm really intimidating. Like, sometimes, you guys, I'll stay up, like, and it'll be like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. Like I've even stayed up past midnight lately. Like, at sometimes in recent weeks. Like, seriously, and nobody came to stop me, you guys. It would, like, because they were afraid. I'm too badass to stop. I stay up past midnight when I want to, because I'm a big boy. I wear big boy pants. All right, you guys, here we go. These Ninja Hambo, ready for battle, ready to go. Whoops, didn't melt that off well enough. That's why I test it. There we go. And let's check the other sides. Yep, good to go. Ready for battle. Oh God, I do not. You know what? Screw it. I will re-spool this later. I am not in the mood to deal with it. We're just gonna do this. I am not in the mood to deal with knotted up paracord right now. I will fix it another time. And when I go to fix it later, I'm probably going to be pissed at myself for not having done it before. And I don't care. That's a future me problem. Future me can be pissed at past me as much as they want. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm rambling a lot this morning. I am a little sleep deprived. So let me start putting some stuff away here. You gotta pull a nose hair. That's always fun. Pulling nose hair sucks, man. It's one of those things they never warn you about when you're a kid. That's the thing you're gonna have to deal with when you get older. Like, there's so many things when you're an adult that nobody warns you about, right? Like, I feel like they should warn you. There are a lot of things. Like, nobody told me there would come a day when I can't trust a fart. Like, no one told me that day was coming. They're like, there would come a day when I would go to fart and would end up shitting my pants. And it would happen in my late 20s. Like, no one told me those days were coming. And I feel like those are the kinds of things you should maybe give people a heads up on. You know? Like, hey, one of these days in your late 20s, maybe your early 30s, you're going to shit your pants. And it's going to catch you off guard because you thought you were going to fart and instead you shit yourself. And it's going to be horrible, you know? And if you're not in your late 20s or early 30s, I'm warning you now, okay? One of these days, in your late 20s, early 30s, you are going to shit your pants, okay? It's going to happen. You're going to go out drinking or something. You're going to get Taco Bell on the way home, and you are going to shit your pants the next day because you're going to think it's just a fart, and it's not going to be a fart. It's going to be shit. And you're never going to trust it ever again. It's going to take all the trust you had out of your bowel movements. It's all gone. There's no more trust. I can't trust my body for anything. Nobody told me my body was going to start turning on me in my 30s. No one warned me about that either. You know, I just feel like there are things, and the hair. Like, no one warned me that, like, I was going to have nose hairs and ear hair. And, like, I'm losing hair in places I want it. And I keep getting hair in places I don't. I hate it. Second puberty fucking sucks, you guys. I'm at the tail end of it right now. And I hate it. You know? Oh, can't do shit without back pain. All right, party people. I think that's it for me for this Sunday finishing work, unless anybody's got any questions. You can go to my shop. There are links in my bio to my shops. Warrior Wood and Props, for the most part, is still on. It's on eBay. There is a warriorwoodandprops.com. Unfortunately, I'm having an issue with Shopify right now, so the website's not operational, and I can't seem to get anybody, a human from customer support with Shopify, to help me. And I'm honestly considering canceling my account if I can figure out how to do that. So, but right now, my main website, you can contact me through, there's a button at the top for contacting me for custom orders and stuff like that. So you can go to warriorwoodandprops.com and use the button at the top to contact me if you want to do a custom order. But you can also contact me through eBay. It's not hard. So yeah, go to eBay, warriorwoodandprops.com. Links are in my link tree in my bio. If you need a custom order for Halloween, you've got about a week left to get those in. If you want it before Halloween, highly recommend you get that to me before October 1st. Because after October 1st, depending on what the custom is, if it's a custom order, you need it before Halloween, I do start charging a rush charge on some of that stuff. Because last year I had some people come to me the week before Halloween wanting a custom prop, and I did not charge rush. I didn't charge rush fees. I should have, but I am this year. So if you got a custom prop or practice weapon or something like that you need before Halloween, please let me know before October 1st. That's it, people. I am calling it a day. I'm gonna go home, watch a bad movie, do some laundry, try to enjoy the rest of my Sunday. Thanks for hanging out with me as always. I'll see you guys next week. Take it easy.